Order! Order! Resume your seat, Mr. Blackford.
Why does this government treat Alberta like a fart in the room? Oh, and by the way, constituents, as I'm giving this speech, there's Liberal members across the aisle that are laughing at me. Yeah. And they're laughing at you.
Yeah. I heard her say a word that I know is distinctly unparliamentary, and I think she may want to withdraw it. The word was F-A-R-T. And I feel it's important to make something of the member's choice of words, is that she then accused people opposite her for reacting. And in that context, decorum is important and respect is important in this place. I remind those who are now heckling me that you are breaking the rules of this place when you do so. I have never heckled in this place, not once. And I've never used language that was unparliamentary, not once. And I recognize my friend's passion, but I do not forgive, nor do I accept.
The real question is, Bob, so we do a memorandum of understanding, which frankly you could do or not do. I don't care if you do it or not. To me, it doesn't mean very much. But if you do a memorandum, how long will it take to put that into a final binding contract?
What? From now on, we're not using the word memorandum of understanding anymore. We're going to use the term trade agreement, all right?
Okay. Right.
No more. We'll never use the term agreement. We'll have the same document. It's going to be called a trade agreement. We're never going to use MOU again.
Isn't that extraordinary? Isn't that extraordinary? This is an institution. Say no, says the noble and learned lady, the Baroness, whatever it is. I can't remember what it is. Nugee.
Order. I don't want to be unkind or discourteous to the Foreign Secretary, but I say on advice as the clerks swivel round to me, two things. First of all, we don't name call in this chamber, and secondly, I'm dealing with the matter. The right honourable gentleman will listen and benefit from listening. Secondly, we do not address people by the titles of their spouses. The Shadow Foreign Secretary has a name, and it's not Lady something. We know what her name is, and it is inappropriate and frankly sexist to speak in those terms. And I'm not having it in this chamber. That is the end of the matter. No matter how senior a member, that parlance is not legitimate. It will not be allowed.
Our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we.
The day before, as opposition MPs accused the government of trying to railroad the legislation through.
I fell in love with my boss, but my boss was the President of the United States. Overnight, I went from being a completely private figure to a publicly humiliated one. I was patient zero, the first person to have their reputation completely destroyed worldwide via the internet. Chillingly told that my mother too, might face prosecution if I didn't cooperate and wear a wire.
Сейчас вы увидите эту сцену. За Федулова потом вступился Владимир Жириновский, поведение которого сегодня должна обсуждать комиссия по этике.
Кто без карточек? Василий Иванович, вы же его раздавите, не надо трогать. Слушайте, ну прекратите этот беспорядок.
and I only allude to the gross references to female genitalia which are contained in the uncontradicted, undenied evidence before the court about the conduct of this Speaker.
I was offended when the Leader of the Opposition went outside in the front of Parliament and stood next to a sign that said, "Ditch the witch." I was offended when the Leader of the Opposition stood next to a sign that described me as a man's bitch. I was offended by those things. Misogyny, sexism, every day from this Leader of the Opposition.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not. Thank you.
What have Sergeant at Arms? Zuma is the one who must go. Sergeant at Arms Yes, Honorable Johnson. Pongwana, Honorable Matsuku, Honorable Mshongo, Honorable Koza, and Honorable Mulaudzi.
Wasting a lot of time. The Right Honourable Prime Minister has the floor. Order.
Mr. Speaker.
Order.
I'm simply reading what the Vancouver Sun reported.
These #1 leads are just a bit of icebergs among the human rights violations committed in the U.S. every day.
Please shut the mic down, since this is not an authorized presentation. If we could ask the acoustic
the
people.
act of racial
Please ensure that the microphone is not live. Thank you. So we are calling UN security. Sir, you can either conclude your remarks or you will be removed from the room.
important to society than the raising of children, for its very survival requires it. Homosexual unions are by nature contradictory to this.
Andrew Scheer was a 25-year-old first-term opposition MP in 2005, explaining why he opposed the bill to legalize same-sex unions.
As they cannot commit to the natural procreation of children, they cannot therefore be married.
Mr. Scheer.
Mr. Scheer. Scheer, like the vast majority of his Conservative caucus, led by Stephen Harper, voted against the bill. So did a number of Liberal MPs.
Newly released letter by a former Vatican ambassador to the U.S., Carlo Vigano, claims that Pope Francis and other top officials of the church knew of the allegations of sexual abuse against Cardinal Theodore McCarrick, the Archbishop of Washington, and they knew it for years.
23rd, 2013, that McCarrick was a serial predator.
What?
In an extremely dramatic moment for the Universal Church, he must acknowledge his mistakes, and in keeping with the proclaimed principle of zero tolerance, Pope Francis must be the first to set a good example for cardinals and bishops who covered up for McCarrick's abuses and resign along with all of them.
I read it, and I will say sincerely that I must say this to you, and will not say one word on this. I think the statement speaks for itself.
I'm doing this work as we can't just pray anymore. We must do something, and we need to do it now. I need to get right into this message so you feel where I'm coming from. I can't stress enough what I have learned about the water from my elders in our ceremonies. Many people don't think water is alive or has a spirit. My people believe this to be true. There are studies now that prove this. We believe our water is sacred because we are born of water and live in water for 9 months. When the water breaks, new life comes. But even deeper than that, we come from our mother's water and her mother's water, and so on. All the original water flows through us from the beginning and all around us. Where I come from, I am so fortunate I could still drink the water from the lake. But sometimes I question it. Not far from where I live, there are communities that have lived through boil water advisories. I ask myself, why is it this way, and why in my province? Why in my country? I didn't really understand this because I always hear of the problems in other countries around the world having no water or very polluted water. I really started to think. My mind wandered and thought, what if we ran out of water? Water is the lifeblood of Mother Earth. Whether it's frozen in the form of rain or clouds, in rivers, lakes, and oceans, water is around us and sustains us all. Everything is connected to this issue of clean water, and this impacts our health and well-being. So now, here we are all together on March 22nd on World Water Day at the United Nations. We are here to launch the International Decade for Action, Water for Sustainable Development. My first thought is I will be 23 years old in 2028. In my mind, I have taken a photo of where we are today, where we are at with various issues surrounding our water. My snapshot doesn't feel good in terms of pollution, climate change, pipelines breaking, recycling, sanitation, poverty, hunger, and illnesses related to these issues.
When Justin Trudeau swept the Liberals into power just over a year ago, he carried the hopes of many Canadians with him. He spoke to us like no other leader before. Trudeau distanced himself from every former Prime Minister, including his own father, by saying no relationship was more important to him than the one with Indigenous peoples. He is Prime Minister, in part because so many First Nations voted for him. But you know what? It looks like Justin Trudeau is turning out to be as big a disappointment to us as his father was. Pierre Elliott Trudeau met with First Nations leaders all over Canada and also promised a better relationship. Instead, he came up with a 1969 white paper threatening to break up our reserves, abolish treaty rights, and eliminate our culture and identity forever. Justin has apologized for his father's mistakes and promised he wouldn't repeat them. On the campaign trail, Trudeau told First Nations that if we elected him, he would absolutely respect our legal right to veto any development on our territories. That means the right to say no to pipelines. But after he was elected, he quickly forgot his promises to us. He unilaterally approved 2 major pipelines, Kinder Morgan's Trans Mountain Pipeline and Enbridge's Line 3. Like father, like son. Prime Minister Trudeau, you betrayed us. You never got our legal consent to approve those pipelines. And all of the evidence points to the fact that these pipelines will continue to destroy the very lands and waters on which we all depend, First Nations and Canadians alike. You don't seem to understand. We cannot sit down.
Order! 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 Members will restrain themselves. Members will restrain themselves.
I'm fighting to protect our sacred land, which is Zilin Chasiyan and Chichil Bistagut. Those lands are my homes. Those lands are who I am and where I come from, the place where I could feel free as being Inne, as being Apache, because that was taken away from me and the generations before me. That freedom to believe in anything, that freedom to be who we are, that freedom to pray, to sing the songs, to live on the land, and to be who we are. That right was taken away. And that's what I'm fighting against. That's what we're doing here today. That's what this generation is doing here today, is that we're fighting against these dirty politicians, these corporations that want to desecrate our sacred land, that want to desecrate who we are and strip our identity away. That's the generational fight, where my great-grandmother was told that she couldn't be who she was, that she was stripped away from her identity because that was savage, that wasn't right. Kill the Indian, save the man. My grandfather growing up and fighting and contemplating that idea of why would someone want to take away who I am, and my mom standing behind him. And now it's my turn to stand up too. It's my turn to take on this fight and to understand and to teach my little sisters, my little cousins, to teach my future children that who we are is powerful, is resilient, is strong, because we are a beautiful people. We have the right.
What is the role of a leader? Well, the first one clearly is to be the chief meeting officer. To let everyone in the place know where you're going, why you're going there, and most importantly, what's in it for them to get there with you. People like to talk about where they're going, why they're going there, but they always leave out the third thing. When you come into a new job and you say, we want to change. Change is great, we got to do it. You forget, people hate change. You got to explain what's in it for them to change with you. So be the chief meaning officer and give meaning to every one of those people that are out there doing that job, so that they understand why you're going where you're going. And they know what's in it for them. Better job, more pay, more flexibility, maybe nothing, if you can't say nothing. But you gotta understand that's one of them. Your job is to not give all these directives and not be the person getting rid of the clutter. Getting rid of clutter is a huge deal. You can't all of a sudden have bureaucracy. Let's go here, let's go there, then have 20 rules to stop the employees from getting there. You've got to break down all those little silos that occur, all those little bureaucrats who are checking the boxes in some layers, slowing you down. Enjoys people's success. You gotta love people's success. You gotta get in their skin. and really be excited as hell for them. You gotta love to give raises. You gotta be turned on giving bonuses. It's gotta make you feel great. And not, geez, I gave him a bonus and I didn't get one that big. None of those feelings. You gotta just get over them. And if I look at all the leaders I've seen, the best ones I've seen have this generosity gene. Ask yourself, do you have it? Or do you have a little small gene in there that's killing you to give raises, killing you to see other successes and jealous in your body? You can't have it. Brush it out, clean it out. And then do you go to work every day, finally, to really have fun? Are your people having fun? Find all kinds of ways to win. There are small victories all the time, and celebrate every one of them. And your job is to make it fun if you're a leader. Don't be some grinding horse's ass. If you're a bore, slap yourself. Think of the excitement and fun you can have in your job. Make it fun. Be the chief fun officer. So in my view, you've got a huge responsibility, most of you. God gave you a job where you are responsible for people's lives. It's a big deal. You got families you're responsible for. Make it a big success for them. You got one of the luxuries of life to impact people's lives. Grab it, squeeze it, and take advantage of it.